Hi there, this is Lisa Irving. I just wanted to spend some time talking to prison officers and also their partners. I'm a clinical psychologist who's been working with prison officers for a couple of decades. So I wanted to take the time to share some of that knowledge and encourage people to know more about PTSD, its treatment, and also how I'd like you to change the work culture there at where you work. So what am I talking about? So firstly, PTSD. Um, a couple of decades ago, when I first started working with prison officers, I had to convince them firstly that I was a real person, that I wasn't weird. And often they'd say that they'd seen other people where they just thought that they were weird fuddy-duddies, like, I don't know, like Sigmund Freud or something with grey hair and a professor attitude. And while it's true I do have a little bit more grey hair now, I'm still a normal person. Thank you. Oh, now I need the hairdresser. Hey. So with PTSD itself, a lot of the time when I see people, they've already had a couple of incidences, been pushing them into the cupboard like it doesn't really matter. And then something bigger happens or something that means more to them happens. And then they really need to see somebody, because they're having lots of dreams, bad dreams usually. They're not sleeping well. They're getting more irritable. They're often having flashbacks. They're often images, but sometimes they're other senses, like it might be the revisit of a smell or a sound or something like that. And then it triggers off either the anger or the panic attacks. So the world starts to feel really out of control, which particularly for prison officers who, in my opinion, you guys like to be in control and have things structured. That can be really, really distressing. But at the same time, because of what you do, often people use their dark humour to cope rather than thinking about seeing a nice person like me to help them and to do something which is called EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization reprocessing. So this is the state-of-the-art treatment for PTSD. It involves two things in terms of the theory. It's eye movement is the bilateral stimulation of the brain. So we're literally getting the left and the right brain to talk to each other, sort of like creating a bridge between them. Whereas when an incident happens, it's almost like a glitch of the brain, like a computer screen freezing. And then the second part is working memory. So working memory is where we're getting your brain to do lots of things at the same time so that then it will let the information pass. So the EMDR is the way to go, and it often takes somewhere between 2 and maybe 10 sessions for each incident. And the first incident usually takes longer than the others. And then you get a bit of a domino effect so that one incident helps the others move along a little bit quicker. Yeah. And then I want to help you to help change the work culture at work. Now, when I first started working with people who are in prisons, it was harder because people weren't allowed to return to work until they were fully fit. There were no alternative duties. There was no other options. They just had to turn up if they were fit. So that meant long, long periods of time off work. Whereas now what has improved is that they're allowing people to return on what's called a graduated return to work program. And there are injury management consultants employed to help. Now, the injury management consultants are usually either within the prison or they might be external to the prison. It just depends on the individual and maybe what your goals are as well. Now, what I would like to say is that you can be part of what helps. Give the department feedback about what's helpful or not helpful. But you all need to do it at the same time so that they might listen. So the kinds of things that I find helpful is if there is freedom to choose what duties that you're going to be doing, whereas I don't think that's really the case now. What I'm hearing is people just being placed in different places each day, which is not very helpful for PTSD because what we're trying to do is rebuild a sense of psychological safety for the person. So sometimes it helps to just go back to somewhere that's really easy. The work environment's really easy to go back to, and then you're sort of increasing the difficulty as you go. This is called exposure therapy. So that's what would be great if we can have that happen for return to work. So that would be really fabulous. Choice, control, and gradual reintroduction to the workplace. Also things like recognizing that if you're not sleeping well, maybe you can start work later. So instead of starting at the usual time, 7:30 a.m. I think it is, that maybe that you start at 9 o'clock and finish at, I don't know, if you do a 6-hour shift, maybe you're going to finish at 3 p.m. or something like that. So those kinds of things can be really helpful. And even before you go back to work, what we want the employer to know is that having some contact, not just from your co-workers, but also from your SOs or senior management, as long as it feels genuine to you, then that can also be really helpful. That you feel like they actually care about you, you know. So do you feel like your management cares about you? If you don't, maybe you can, again, give them some feedback. Do you think that they'll listen? Maybe they will if everybody's saying the same thing. Maybe they will if they realise that people are going to get back to work faster just by being good, kind, compassionate human beings. It doesn't always have to be about being, I don't know, strong and brutal as a prison officer or a prison itself. So that's what I think about it. You can let me know in the comments if you think I've missed something or that this is helpful. Thanks for listening. Bye.